Hey guys, welcome back to the Workbench. This time around, we got ourselves a pretty interesting machine. It is a Hoover Dimension 1000 with electronic auto power, 4.3 peak horsepower, and it's got a cord rewind, and I was lucky enough that mine has the power nozzle, also known as the Quadraflex Powermatic. It also has at least most of its tools. It's got bare floor nozzle, crevice tool, and dusting brush. I might actually have an upholstery brush that would work, but I would have to go through my big pile of attachments over on a shelf off camera to actually look for that. So this was a good little find. It was 20 bucks. The tag is on the wand. And I've already ran it. The thing seems to run good. It, however, does not have a bag. That filter was not like that when I got it. I just left it like that. And can't see it very well on here, but it does have an outline of the sticker that was on here. 9-quart bag capacity, disposable and easy to change, 1-step hose connection, no separate wire to connect, and then inside tool storage. So there was a sticker on there at one point. Very interesting hard floor too. These are gonna get cleaned quartz. A nice little crevice tool. One slot. Oh, it does have some loose plastic that I might knock out with a small file. A dusting brush, very similar to the Hoover Elites. Very strange bag door setup. It's these two springs right here that do that. As you can see, it's a little dusty. It's not terrible for a machine of its age. I don't even know how to tell the date on this because the serial number doesn't really have a date code. It takes type M bags, so there was not a bag in it, so I'm going to have to run by my personal favorite vacuum store, which is Husker Sew and Vac, and see if they have any. Interesting latching mechanism. I'll leave that in place for now at least. Maybe take it off camera. Pre-motor filter, it's falling apart. What do you expect for a machine of this age? But it's actually not terribly dirty. It is very nice working on a machine like this, especially now, because what I had to work on, I had to work on 2 of them before this, and they were sharks. One of them was one of the newer style navigators. It's not a lift away, but it looks like a lift away. Can't remember the model number off my head, but I'll put the model number somewhere along here in text. And then another was one of the duo cleans with power fins, which I will say that I am not a fan of actually working on the duo clean sharks whatsoever. They're probably some of my least favorite machines to take apart. Not saying the navigator was particularly easy, but it was certainly not as much of a challenge, especially on the power nozzle. Magnetic dish. This is my first time getting into one of these older Hoover canisters, so it's pretty safe to say that I have no idea for what's ahead of me. So that's not gonna fit, so we'll just use a regular screwdriver for those. I made the unfortunate decision when I got this that if I was gonna get this, then my Electrolux Olympia will be taking its final destination to the side of the road. And why did I decide that? Well, the plastic on the Olympia has aged. It has gotten brittle and it's starting to break down. And the machine itself works fine, but the shell around it is starting to break down, and I just don't need to keep a machine that's one hard sneeze away from shattering. It's kind of like a yellowed Dyson in a way. You just don't need to be carrying around a machine that is just super close to just falling apart. And again, this is my first time pulling one of these apart, so I kinda don't have a clue on what I'm doing. It looks like someone else had a similar idea to me. There are apparently some screws in here, and one of them is missing. Oh, there's the bag collar. So it looks like someone's tried to take this apart and lost a screw, which, I mean, missing one screw isn't the worst thing in the world. As long as it's not a one screw only piece that's being held on, then you might have a bit of an issue. But again, this is my first time taking one of these dimensions apart, so I kind of don't know what I'm doing. I guess it's all a matter of trial and error. This looks like a tab to something. For the wheel, I see. Which means that over here should be the exact same. Oops. There's that wheel, and there's that wheel. I'll see if there's a way I can get them off the axle. If not, they'll stay like that when they get cleaned. cannot tell if the screw has come out completely or not. My screwdriver is not moving up, so I'm going to assume it's been fully loosened. There's two more on here. Actually, I'm going to see if I can reach there, down there with a longer drill bit. Oh yes, they are quite long. Here's our control panel. There might be some tabs that hold on the big ol' combination power button and cord rewind, which I might take off later. Protection for all the wiring and components on there. Okay. There are the tips of our longer screws. I mean, it would help explain why it didn't come off. This back panel just kind of rests in there. This big head short screw holds on our control board. Interesting. There's your cord rewind holder and I guess exhaust vent, maybe? Might be. Let's see how this might be held in place. I think it might just be tabs. I'm going to see if I can possibly figure this out. Get that out of the way right now. Let's see if I can take out this cord rewind. Alright. Another big flat screw. Takes off this bar. Out comes the cord reel. Rewinder. Take a note of this. The long tail of the spring is what rests up against the body. slightly longer piece of tubing. Just set that aside for now. Certainly a dusty machine, that's for sure. Just taking note of some of this. Now, when it comes to the cord reel, red wire closest to the inside of the machine, white wire closest to the outside. This is for the cord reel, by the way. Future notes, future reference. Yep, there goes the reel. So this is the cord reel. That entire thing just popped out. Slip rings. There's a gasket for it that has felt side going out. And then this looks to be where it runs up against. So that's, I guess, some important tidbits. Yours is having trouble with something. Still not entirely sure how the rest of this is supposed to... Oh. At least this side seems to be splitting in half. That would explain. Out comes the chassis of the machine, or at least the bottom half. Got some insulating foam. Your long screw should all be out by now. Gonna take off the bumper. Attempt to, there we go. It is a two-piece bumper. Just be wary. Because it's, you know, two pieces. So we come off on this end. All I'm going to do with these electronic parts is I'm just going to clean them up. I'm not going to attempt to like take them out and undo all the wiring or anything, because that just sounds like stuff that I don't want to figure out. We have 3 wires for the power nozzle. Coming from the nozzle end, it should be yellow on top, brown in the middle, red on the bottom. In case you ever need that for reference, this gasket sits right there. Now I'm going to flip the machine around so I can see what the wiring is supposed to look like. And then flip it down. Ooh, okay. That is a lot to take note of. Okay, so here's what I think this looks like. Power switch goes these 2 red wires right there. This singular brown wire right here goes to the floor head. This red wire right here also goes to the floor head, and then the yellow sits on top of those. I'm going to move the power switch wires out of the way, and then the floor nozzle out of the way. Then this set of wires looks like it goes to a sensor. There's also a sensor back here. That is 2 white wires with gray, or, well, gray stripes. And then there is a solid white and a black wire that goes to the motor. This is important to know so that you don't mess anything up. So I am actually going to start by removing the button. The button is quite dusty. Nothing we haven't worked with before. The button, one of the wires to the button goes to the cord reel. This is also another important thing you want to know when it comes to these connectors. All of the red wires go under one connector. Two whites looks like the white wire that goes to the motor, the white wire that runs up here to the board, and then one of the sensor wires that goes to this sensor back here, does that. And then there's another white wire that I'm going to try to see where that goes. That goes to the cord reel, connects to a yellow wire from the goes to the yellow wire that goes to the power nozzle and hose, and then the sensor. Both black wires are fairly simple. So this is, for future reference for me, hose connection / power nozzle, sensor, cord reel, main board, sensor, motor, all the red, and then the two blacks. I really don't want to have to cut these off if I can, but depending on what the wiring doohickey is like, I'm going to actually take a look at this board assembly because it might just be a connector on it. Might just be. Let's see. Piece of insulation. Trying to see if this board is in there. Tiny black screw, the selector switch for manual and automatic. As much as it pains me to do this, I'm not exactly sure how else I'm supposed to. But we can always re-glue stuff. Like it's the biggest deal in the world, right? So Hoover is being nutty and putting these zip ties to prevent this piece from coming out. So then what do we do with that? Well, we cut the zip ties. So these little zip ties on the board, just cut them. There we go, finally. So yeah, these tiny little zip ties, if you're actually taking this machine apart, just cut them. It's oriented like this. Very interesting way of holding this in. So bendable metal tabs, it looks like, that hold the board in. Doesn't look like they have it on the other end. So in theory, if we take a flathead screwdriver and just gently pry on it, the board should come out just like that. Cool. This little sensor just sits down in there. You can kind of get the idea. It's your board slash box. Weird. These little metal tabs just go to this piece right here, so disregard that. You know, that would actually make a whole lot of sense. Looks like this little connection just with the push up of this plastic tab right there pops right out. This is where it gets tricky because you gotta find a way to undo these connections. Although I don't really want to cut the wires down. Guess we'll just try. Got the sleeve off. There we go. That's just going to be replaced with a large wire nut. So this is just a reminder. All the red wires will go together. When it comes to this, keep it simple. Don't go removing everything if you don't need to. Although it looks like for this we might actually have to. Might be able to reuse that. Again, could just become a wire net. Both black wires connect together. Fairly straightforward. So let's actually get the wires out of the way that we don't need. Set the switch aside. And that should leave us with this wire. These sets of wires, which again, power nozzle, sensor, and the cord wheel. Looks like we might have to undo this last one too. Again, this particular one, board sensor motor. I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for you. There we go. Alright, we got all of our wires loose for the most part. Just gotta pull them all through. Except for the brown wires, but we'll get to those in a little bit. This is the switch that controls the machine. This lone brown wire sits right in the center of those two other wires, and it goes to, you guessed it, the hose connection. We're figuring this all out together. You know, getting so close to actually disassembling the machine. Yes, my eyes are starting to hurt from all the dust. The things I do for you guys. Just kidding, I love you guys. Well, most of you. Motor casing sensor. This little motor casing right here has this sensor with the white wires with the black stripes on them. You know what, guys? I don't believe my eyes. Why? Because I'm pretty sure that this is a two-stage motor. When was the last time, when was any time you've ever seen a two-stage motor on a Hoover? That is a heavy motor, first of all. It sounds a little rough, but it should clean up fairly well. We have another sensor right here. And this gasket that looks to hold what's left of our filter hose in place. That, sure enough, appears to have a sensor in it. And what might actually be where the fourth screw for this machine would have gone if it had one. Well, no, let's push through and see for ourselves. Looks like it wasn't designed to have a fourth screw, but it does in fact have this very long sensor in it that appears to go through the majority of the machine. Keep in mind, this is still the canister unit. We haven't even got to the power head yet, which I might actually have to take that apart off camera so I don't bore the hell out of you guys. And out comes our big looks to be this rather weird dust sensor, which looks like I'm going to have to do something I don't want to do. Close your eyes, kids. Cut out the sensor, and it will be reattached with wire nuts later. Well, that took a long time. There's our other tube. Well, that was an interesting experience. Unfortunately, it looks like we might miss out. Ooh, where did this come from? This might be part of the bag dock. Not exactly sure where that came from. Not a good thing, that's for sure. So we have our machine apart, so I'm going to see if I can work my way around. Maybe get the power nozzle disassembly in. Alright, here's the power nozzle. Interesting brush roller design. Kind of reminds me of the Hoover Concept 1. Apparently, the screw bits for the power nozzle have broken to some extent because there's appears to be hot glue on it. Oh, there we go. Oh, apparently it hinges on. Not the weirdest way I've seen it do it, but I suppose. Now, what exactly is making all that noise? This thing. Okay. Mystery number 1. Where did this piece of metal come from? Instantly found the answer. Which would explain why our carpet changing lever did not want to work. Power nozzle, okay, cool. Switch up. Let's get one of these older style bayonet type bulbs. Interesting. Does feel a little stiff, which would explain the stiffness. Although it's interesting that it's just a typical switch, not some kind of a button. Oh, that's not good. That is a spring. I don't know where that spring came from, but it's just in there. There's the old belt for it. Not sure if they still make them. That brush hole is stiff. Terribly stiff. So I guess it's a good thing I got this machine. Motor, which appears to just be some kind of a standardized motor for these. Doesn't want to come out, so I might have to undo the rest of it. Important piece of metal, which covers this end of the hinge. That part might just be a wipe down and go. There goes the motor. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what that spring is doing, but should not be just floating around, I'll tell you that. Okay, I got my motor work cut for tomorrow. Now the rest of the power nozzle can be not exactly sure what the hell happened to the screw holes, but I suppose icky power nozzle wheels, little plastic wheels, special. Probably clean up the shafts. Wheel. you can just see that this base has been cracked, broken. Wheel base. And now our machine is apart. So I will come back when I have the belt and bags as well as the rest of the machine cleaned up and fully addressed, and we'll put it back together.